Welcome to Eritech. For centuries across the vast snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas, a mystery has lurked in the shadows. A creature that has haunted the minds of explorers, scientists, and adventurers. Half man, half beast. The Yeti. The Yeti, or abominable snowman, is a creature wrapped in myth and mystery. The stories speak of a giant, covered in fur, roaming the highest mountains on Earth, eluding all who search for it. But is it all just folklore? Or could the Yeti have once walked the Earth? This story isn't just about ancient legends. It's a question that remains unanswered. Was the Yeti a real animal? Could the sightings, the mysterious footprints, the chilling tales, be more than just imagination? Or have we been chasing the impossible for centuries? Long before the world knew about the Yeti, there were stories, passed down through generations, told by the Sherpas and the native people of Nepal, Bhutan, and Tibet. These weren't just fairy tales. These were warnings. Warnings of a creature that haunted the remote, frozen landscapes. A creature known by many names but universally feared. In the 19th century, European explorers began venturing into these uncharted territories. Among the first to encounter strange phenomena were members of British expeditions. They reported seeing large, mysterious footprints in the snow, marks far too large to be made by any known animal. In 1921, an English mountaineer named Colonel Howard Barry made one of the earliest reports of the Yeti, describing large, human-like footprints discovered high in the mountains. These tracks were so strange that they sparked an international debate. Could they belong to an undiscovered species? Or were they simply the result of some unknown animal? Theories abounded. Some suggested that the Yeti was a form of giant ape, a distant relative of the gorilla or orangutan. Others believed it was a type of wild man, a remnant of ancient human ancestors. But one thing remained clear. The Yeti wasn't just a myth. It was something real. The footprints are perhaps the most compelling and most controversial evidence of the Yeti's existence. For decades, explorers have found these large, human-like prints in the snow, often leading them into remote, uninhabited parts of the Himalayas. But are they real? Or could they simply be hoaxes or misidentified animal tracks? In 1951, renowned British mountaineer Eric Shipton captured what would become one of the most iconic images of the Yeti's footprint. This large, almost human-shaped print seemed to provide the most convincing evidence yet. But while many were fascinated, others were unconvinced. The problem with these footprints is that they are often ambiguous. While some could have been made by large animals like bears or wild goats, others may have been intentionally fabricated. Many Yeti hoaxes were later exposed, people carving false tracks in the snow or exaggerating natural prints. But not all the footprints can be easily explained. Some were larger than any known animal, too large for a bear, and too odd for any big cat. Could there be a species out there that we simply don't know about? In the last few decades, science has turned its attention to the Yeti. What were once vague myths were now being examined through the lens of modern technology. In 2011, scientists from the University of Oxford conducted groundbreaking research, testing hair samples found in the Himalayas. What they found was both surprising and perplexing. The hair didn't match any known animal, but it didn't belong to a human either. In fact, the DNA results suggested that the hair came from a species related to a type of bear, an ancient lineage of bear that may have once lived in the Himalayan region. Could it be that the Yeti was a remnant of an ancient bear, long believed to be extinct? Perhaps what people had been encountering were not mythical creatures, but remnants of a forgotten animal that had adapted to life in the harshest climates. Some scientists even proposed that this bear species could be a prehistoric giant, much like the extinct Arctodus, a massive bear that once roamed North America. Could the Yeti be a surviving relative of this ancient predator? Despite the advances in science, the Yeti's mystery remains unsolved. Sightings continue to this day. In 2024, a team of explorers set out with the latest equipment, drones, thermal cameras, and even high-tech tracking devices, to capture definitive proof of the Yeti's existence. Their journey led them deep into the most remote regions of the Himalayas, where no human had set foot for years. It was a dangerous trek, but they were determined. And then, they captured something that may change everything. Through the cold, the dark, and the snow, the team's cameras captured something large moving across the screen. A shadow in the night. Was it the Yeti? Or something else entirely? The team analyzed the footage for weeks, but the truth remains elusive. The shape was massive, too large to be a typical animal. Its movements were strange, almost unnatural. Some believe this could be the long-awaited proof that the Yeti still roams the Himalayas. Could the Yeti be the last of an ancient lineage? Perhaps it was a species that has learned to evade humanity, living in the deepest, most inhospitable parts of the mountains. It's possible that the Yeti is not just a myth, but a species that has managed to survive in isolation for millennia. The mystery of the Yeti remains unsolved, but the evidence is mounting. Could it be that the Yeti is not just a legend, but a forgotten animal that once roamed the earth, waiting to be rediscovered? The truth is out there, and perhaps it's closer than we think.